I do not consider myself to be a particularly ethical person, but I am fair. Here are my top 10 movies of 2021. Welcome back everyone to the League of Cinephiles. I'm your host, Alex Helmer, and today I will be taking you on a tour through my top 10 favorite movies of 2021. Now, if you are new to the channel, it is very important that you like the video, hit that bell icon, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel, because if you think all we have here are movie reviews, lists, trailer reactions, you'd be mistaken. You do not want to miss the rest of the sim-related competition that we have. We specialize in film trivia, cinema wars, fancast match, all sorts of cinema-related competition, all sorts of great matches in relation to movies that you do not want to miss. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any of it. Now, before I take you on a tour through these 10 extraordinary films, I must also say that I did think 2021 was a pretty weak year for films in general. So a lot of these movies I do love. I think all these movies are great. But compared to other years, say 2019, for example, a lot of them, at least 90% of them, maybe 100 even, wouldn't make the list. But here we are. Let's get the countdown started with number 10. So if you've known me for a long time, you'd know that Better Call Saul's up there with Succession is one of my favorite shows still active on television right now. So naturally, why wouldn't I be excited about Bob Odenkirk starring in his own John Wick type assassin movie?
I'm gonna fuck you up.
Director Ilya Naishuller, who is also behind the camera for the very underrated action flick Hardcore Henry, also helps nobody, and you can tell. Every single action set piece, every single punch, kick, stab, etc. can be felt. They're all within the frame. You can see everything in all of its bloody glory. And I mentioned him before, but Bob Odenkirk, I mean, my god, this might be my favorite role I've seen him in any film. And I mean, RZA and Christopher Lloyd aren't too shabby either, turning in very fun, very layered supporting performances as well that really contribute to this family dynamic that can be felt at the end of the film, specifically in a final fight scene that more than delivers, paired nicely with a simple but badass script, a killer soundtrack, and a pretty brutal and menacing villain. Nobody's an action flick from 2021 that went unnoticed later in the year that you do not want to miss. Now hold up. Am I the only person who remembers that Pixar released one of its best films, Luca, in 2021? So coming out of Luca, many were saying, hey, it's good, but it's middle of the road Pixar. My quick rebut to that would be, even so, even if that were true, it's still a fine, good picture. The relationship between Luca and Alberto was so heartfelt, one that brought me back to my own childhood, set within the confines of the Italian seaside, with some of Pixar's most gorgeous visuals, bright colors. It all was so visually appealing, so warm. It felt like I could just reach into my TV and be immersed into this world effortlessly. As always, Pixar's messages, the themes were as powerful as ever, and that ending, I mean, it hit home. And part of that is because of Dan Romer's incredibly underrated score. I do not know why anyone isn't talking about this phenomenal score. Easily, maybe Pixar's best in a long time, at least that I can remember. Nobody's talking about it. I must have re-listened to that score 50 to 100 times after seeing this film. And nonetheless, Luca is a great Pixar film that is in my top 10 of the year and deserves it rightfully. Now I have a confession, guys. I'm a big James Bond fan, and as such, how could I not put No Time to Die on this list, especially after what it seemed like centuries waiting for Daniel Craig's final outing as Bond to come to theaters.
I've missed you.
No Time to Die grounds and humanizes Bond on a level we've never quite seen from any entry in the Bond franchise. This culminates in an ending that is extremely powerful and has so much emotional weight to it. This is Daniel Craig's best performance by far as the legendary British spy, and I'd be lying if I told you I didn't let out a couple tears at those final 20 minutes. I mean, I get it. A lot of people are mixed on it, but for me, it was the perfect ending point for this character. one that kind of differentiates itself from a lot of the other Bonds that we've gotten. Rami Malek Safin isn't one of the best villains we've seen from the franchise recently. His motivation, his background, they were all very convoluted, weak, and vague. But at the same time, that doesn't hold the film back too much, just because of the film's emphasis on Bond, on Madeline, on M. Paired with Cary Fukunaga's amazing direction, the great cinematography, Hans Zimmer's score, and you get a Bond film that more than delivers and has a rightful spot in my top 10. What can I say about Dune that hasn't already been said? I mean, in a year full of visually stunning films, Dune might top it off. This film is one of the most beautiful films I've seen all year, easily maybe the most visually stunning blockbuster of the 21st century. The world building is great. The characters are interesting. The political intrigue, it is like a Lawrence of Arabia paired with a Star Wars. And although the film didn't meet all my expectations, I expect as time goes by, as we get to parts 2 and 3, my appreciation for part 1 will grow.
One of the unexplained mysteries of the universe. Is he man or beast?
Speaking of great visuals, Nightmare Alley, guys. This film was released the same weekend as Spider-Man No Way Home did.
No! God, please, no! No!
So I wouldn't blame you guys for not catching it just yet, but I would recommend it if you're looking to watch it down the road, especially before Oscar season. Now, Nightmare Alley is a combination of two of my favorite things: Guillermo del Toro in the film noir genre. Now, the film might feel a bit slow-paced for many, and I completely understand that criticism, but for me, I was completely invested into our characters, into this world that Guillermo del Toro built. The production design, the cinematography, the neon lights, the shadows, the way Del Toro kind of moves the camera in order to mesmerize the audience. Because it is such a magical yet mysterious world, Bradley Cooper as our kind of anti-hero slash protagonist was someone I was very interested in, just because early on it's established that this isn't a good guy. And it's that sense of kind of mystery, it's that sense of what's he gonna do next that keeps us intrigued. Paired with him is Cate Blanchett's fabulous femme fatale. It's clear this role is built for Cate Blanchett. I mean, she's one of the greatest actresses on the planet, and she owns this role. The cast is astounding all around. I also want to give props to Rooney Mara and Richard Jenkins, who also turn in really good performances. And I also want to say those last 20 minutes where I finally get the payoff for all that slow, methodical pace. Those last 20 minutes are something else, guys. Now, you might have noticed by now, but I'm wearing a Knives Out shirt. And the reason for that is because Nathan Johnson's score for Nightmare Alley, holy this score is one of the best of the year. He composed Knives Out, and that was also one of the best scores of 2019, and that wasn't getting any Oscar buzz. And so I just want to give props to this score that won't get nominated in 2022, but I want to recognize as one of the best scores of the year, one of the most magical yet haunting scores of the year. Nathan Johnson, your time will come, my friend.
I will try.
Now, you might have to bear with me for this one. It's a small little movie I'm not sure you guys have heard of. Let me just... Again, another cliche pick like Dune. There's really nothing original I can say about Spider-Man No Way Home. Tom Holland's performance, guys. Look, I was hating on the guy a lot, especially after Cherry, one of my least favorite films of 2021.
And to make matters worse, after a while it got to be expected that the guidon bearer, which was me, would do the robot throughout the refrain.
Look how they massacred my boy.
But he completely rebounded with the best performance of his career in Spider-Man No Way Home. Zendaya also turns in her best performance as MJ. I have never been as invested into the Peter-MJ relationship as I was in No Way Home. I was an emotional wreck during the emotional wrecking ball of an ending that this was, particularly because I was so invested in the Peter-MJ relationship. Now, the villains as well, I mean, I have to mention them because Willem Dafoe, he has not lost a step. His Green Goblin, especially after this film, is now maybe one of the most iconic villains in cinematic history. He is psychotic, he is evil, he is intimidating, he is smart. He is everything you want in a movie villain, and I'm not sure he's ever been better. Alfred Molina as well as Doc Ock. has a lot to do, and I fell in love with the character again. And I'll never forget my theater experience when watching Spider-Man No Way Home. The best I've had since maybe Avengers Endgame 2 years ago. Some of these moments, some of the crowd cheering moments, some of the moments where we were left in awe, some of them where we were left in tears, I will never forget them. I will never forget the first time I saw Spider-Man No Way Home, and that is why it has a place on this list.
Oh, this is nice.
Edgar Wright is one of my favorite directors. I'm sure he's one of your favorite directors for all the people watching at home. Last Night in Soho is such a great throwback to that great 70s horror, to filmmakers like Dario Argento and Brian De Palma. The neon lights, montages, fades, Edgar Wright's camera movements and tracking shots all felt like such an awesome throwback to this age of filmmaking, to this age of horror. Eloise, played by Thomasin McKenzie, felt very relatable for me. As someone who also was going to college for the first time, that feeling of kind of traveling to a different world of sorts, a different kind of lifestyle that you're going to have to adopt, and kind of getting used to that, and finding yourself wanting to kind of invest yourself, kind of immerse yourself in a world of the past. Now, a lot of people are very mixed specifically on the ending of Last Night in Soho. I actually loved the ending myself. I didn't see the twist coming. Thematically, it really worked, and it helps the film that the soundtrack is pretty killer. Ridley Scott has made 2 wildly different movies in the year of 2021, and I think I'm gonna go for his first. In a lot of medieval epics, where I find myself drifting off a lot of the time, the screenplay for The Last Duel is where it thrives. It has a Rashomon 3-act structure where they tell the same story 3 separate times from 3 separate perspectives.
One of us has lied. Let us let God decide.
Dealing with such a complicated subject matter like sexual assault, using this storytelling device was more ingenious than ever. Themes like ego, honor, religion, masculinity, all of them were explored in the performances as well. I mean, Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and Ben Affleck are great as always. But Jodie Comer, guys, I mean, my God, one of the best performances I've seen all year, one that hits you right in the gut, one that doesn't let go. And also, when you're talking about the best scene of the year, the namesake last duel of The Last Duel, chef's kiss. It was bloody, it was brutal, there were different stages of the fight, and as well as the fight choreography, and trust me, fight choreography was great. You could see everything, you could feel every blow. There were also stakes to the duel. I found myself on the edge of my seat because I couldn't wait to see which outcome was going to come out of this fight. Having great action, that's amazing, that's great. That's step 1, but step 2? It's getting the audience invested into the fight, invested into the outcome of the fight, getting invested into the characters. And The Last Duel did that perfectly, and it more than earned the 3rd spot of my top 10 films of 2021.
You might just have the next Michael Jordan. Oh no, brother man. I got me the next too.
Warner Brothers was marketing King Richard heavily. I expected it to be a kind of paint-by-number sports biopic in which the players have to kind of overcome obstacles in order to improve in the sport at the center of the film. But King Richard isn't like that at all. King Richard doesn't tell the tale about how the Williams sisters kind of developed their skills to a point where they're now the best in their sport. King Richard establishes early on that these are sports prodigies. King Richard, what's so interesting about it is that it's about how these people deal with success. How they take what everyone's already saying about them, what they want for them, and how they approach that. And the character of Richard Williams, again, we could go on and on about Will Smith's performance. Richard Williams, is he a tyrant? Is he selfish? These are questions that make the character so great because we can't really point at one thing and say, hey, he is this, because he is such a complicated character. When you gain the type of status that Will Smith does as one of the biggest movie stars in the world, it makes it that much harder to give the audience transformative performances. Will Smith, he does it. No questions asked. I did not see Will Smith in this film at all. I saw Richard Williams for 2.5 hours. And overall, I couldn't be happier with King Richard. It deserves the number 2 spot. and I'd say maybe this is the film I'm pulling for most in the Best Picture race. Now, before I get to my surprising pick for my number one favorite film of the year, here are my honorable mentions.
It's okay, Mom. It's okay. We're okay. That's Dad. Okay. That's Dad. Where? Mom? Oh my God. Tonight, there's only you tonight. What do you want? What do you do? What do you say?
Where are your parents?
My mom works for me.
Oh, of course she does.
Yes, she does,
That
in my
makes
public
sense.
relations company.
In your public relations company? Because you have that.
Yes.
And you're an actor.
Yes.
And you're a secret agent too.
Now, again, this might surprise some people because I know a lot haven't seen this film, but my favorite film of the year is Mass. Now, I was supposed to see Mass a number of months back. I got an early screener for it, but during my screening, my computer ran out of battery, and when I tried to turn it back on, it didn't let me watch the film again. And fast forward a couple months, I had to see it when it came on VOD, so I saw it recently, very recently, and I can confidently say it's my favorite film of the year. I've talked a lot about films that have a lot of emotional weight to them. None like Mass. Mass hit me like a bus. It hit me like a tanker. It hit me like a right hook from Floyd Mayweather. This film deals with such complicated subject matter in such a mature way. I don't want to give away too much about the plot, but it is a one location film. It's mostly set in this one concentrated room when two couples are confronting each other about a tragedy that has happened in the past. Jason Isaacs and Martha Plimpton play one couple, and Ann Dowd and Reed Birney play the other. I can say confidently at least 3 of them deserve Oscar wins. Are they going to get it? Sadly, no. But Ann Dowd, one of the best performances of the year. Same with Martha Plimpton. Jason Isaacs. I'm a big Jason Isaacs fan all the way back to his days in the Harry Potter franchise, and my lord, what a performance. Again, complicated. This film is very complicated. It feels so real because of that. The film doesn't take sides. You might notice that early on in the film, a lot of the shots are very still, very methodical, but then as the conversation between these two couples furthers, there's more camera movement, the shaky cam becomes more chaotic, which makes the film feel a lot more cinematic. And again, I can't say enough about the screenplay, about everything I felt while watching this film, about the 4 performances in it. Mass is a small film. It wasn't distributed widely, but it is the best film of the year, and it's really not even that close. So those were my top 10 films from 2021, but it's very important. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Tell me your top 10 films of 2021. This is what this is for. Start a conversation, guys. I want to hear your top 10 films of the year. I'm very curious. Tell me what you think of mine. Tell me what you think of my picks. Again, like the video, subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified on all our latest cinema-related competition. Thank you for being here, guys. Let me know if I should do more of these lists because, I'm not used to doing solo videos on the channel, but hey, maybe if you guys like this one, I'll do more, and I'll see you guys in 2022. Ciao.